Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
Rising home prices and housing inventory issues has made for a highly competitive housing market, but one main factor that millennials are shying away from home ownership is student debt. Here to break it down is Jessica Lautz, National Association of Realtors, Vice President of Demographics and Behavioral Insights. Jessica, thanks so much for joining us today. So how much more are millennials spending now on housing and education as well compared to previous generations of the same age?
Yeah, so that's really the problem that we see when we look at budgets of those who are under the age of 25. So they're thinking about saving for a down payment for a home, but right now with rising rents and also looking at their down payment and just what they need to pull together with rising home prices, it's being very difficult for them to do it and pay for their student loan debt at the end of the month as well.
What about some of the pandemic relief we've been seeing regarding student loans? Has that helped, open up or free up any liquidity for these millennials as they search for their first home?
Yes, for 38% of student loan debt holders, we know that the pandemic, it did get them closer to paying down their student loan debt. So that's been a very big help because not only did they take advantage of these pandemic relief programs, they were able to move to more affordable areas. They were able to move in with their parents and they cut spending on restaurants and entertainment like the rest of us did as well.
Do you see the housing market seeing any meaningful growth this year? Because inventory is at an all-time low. Prices continue to be astronomical. So many are priced out of it.
Yeah, it is really difficult. And right now we are expecting that people will be interested in entering the housing market, but it's very difficult when they see these double-digit growth in prices, but then also the extremely limited inventory, the lowest amount of inventory that we actually have reported back to 1999.
Game over.
Game over.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki was again the source of both left and right Twitter's ire over the weekend. This time regarding advice she gave to Biden administration supporters experiencing burnout. Let's take a listen.
So my advice to everyone out there who's frustrated, sad, angry, pissed off, feel those emotions, go to a kickboxing class, have a margarita, do whatever you need to do this weekend, and then wake up on Monday morning, we got to keep fighting. And what that means, Lindsay, is we have to keep talking to members about federal legislation. That's essential. That's something that can be permanent, that can make sure people's rights are protected. But we also need to make sure people are educated in states across the country about what their rights are, how they can vote, when they can vote, how to request an absentee ballot. There's a lot we need to do on that front, and that's going to rely on the energy and the anger of that activism as well.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Good?
Free thinking, innovative, and totally open-minded. Who shall rule this American nation? Say, boys, say. Who shall sit in the loftiest station? Say, boys, say. Shall the men who trampled on the banner, they who now their country would betray, they who murder the innocent freedmen, say, boys, say. No, never, the loyal millions say, and 'tis they who rule this American nation, they, boys, they.
These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot. In this crisis, shrink from the services of their country. But he that stands it now deserves the thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheaply, what we esteem too lightly, it is the clearness that gives everything its value. heaven knows how to set a price on its goods. And it would be a strange thing indeed that so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. Britain, with an army to enforce her tyranny, would claim the right not only to tax, but to bind us in all cases whatsoever. And if being bound in that manner is not slavery, there is no such thing as slavery upon earth. Even the expression is impious, for so unlimited a power can belong only to God. Whether the independence of the continent was declared too soon or delayed too long, I will not now enter into as an argument. But my own simple opinions is that had it been 8 months before, it would have been much better. We did not make a proper use of the last winter. Neither could we, while we were in a dependent situation. However, the fault, if it were one, was all our own. But no great deal is lost yet. All that Howe has been doing for this month past is rather a ravage than a conquest, which the spirit of the Jerseys a year ago would have quickly repulsed, and which time and a little resolution will soon recover. I have as little superstition in me any man living, but my secret opinion has never been, and still is, that God will not give up on a people to military destruction or leave them unsupported. No, not leave them unsupported to perish. Who had so earnestly and so repeatedly sought to avoid the calamities of war, but every decent method which wisdom could invent. Neither have I so much of the infidel in me as to suppose that he has relinquished the government of the world and given us up to the care of devils. And as I cannot see on what grounds the king can look up to heaven for help against us. I have as little superstition in me as any man living, but my secret opinion has ever been and still is that Almighty God will not give up on a people to military destruction or leave them unsupported to perish, who have so earnestly and so repeatedly sought to avoid the calamities of war by every decent method which wisdom could invent. Neither have I so much of the infidel in me as to suppose that he has relinquished the government of the world and given us up to the care of devils. And as I cannot see on what grounds the King of Britain can look up to heaven for help against us. A common murderer, a highwayman, or a housebreaker has as good as pretense as he. 'Tis surprising to see how rapidly a panic will sometimes run through a country. All nations and ages have been subject to them. Britain has trembled like an ague at the report of a French fleet of flat-bottomed boats, and in the 14th century of the whole English army, after ravaging the kingdom of France, was driven back like men petrified with fear. And this brave exploit was performed by a few broken forces collected and headed by a woman, Joan of Arc. Would that heaven might inspire some Jersey maid to spirit up her countrymen and save her fellow sufferers from ravage and ravishment. Yet panics, in some cases, have their uses. They produce as much good as hurt. Their duration is always short. The mind soon grows through them and acquires a firmer habit than before. But their peculiar advantage is that they are the touchstones of sincerity and hypocrisy, and bring things and men to light which might otherwise have lain forever undiscovered. Tommy Nation Politics. Catch the Tommy Nation Tuesday live stream every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't